I don't know why I bothered getting a new phone. I've been finding it so hard to concentrate lately, I can barely hold down a conversation. My thoughts often start in one place and end up somewhere completely different, to the point where I can't remember what I'd been thinking of in the first place. The other day, I managed to land a phone interview for a pretty decent job, but halfway through the call, I lost track of my words so badly I actually forgot what the question was. I tried my best to recover it, but it was too late. The woman thanked me for my time and got off the phone as quickly as she could. Not surprisingly, she didn't call back. I hate these phone interviews. Anyway, people have my intelligence judging me from 1,000 miles away. They're lucky we're not in the same room, so I can't slap the clipboard out of their hands. What was I saying? The phone. I got a new phone with my first unemployment check. I told the kid at the store they should replace it for free, but he said I hadn't gone for the extra insurance, so I had to pay for a new one. This kid couldn't have been a day over 20, and he gets to bully me into spending a chunk of my unemployment on something I already bought. He wanted me to upgrade my contract too, until I got loud with him. He dropped the sales pitch pretty quickly after that. I'm doing it again. The point is, someone keeps calling me and hanging up. At first I thought it was a problem with the new phone, but then I called the number back and heard breathing on the other end. It wasn't lewd or anything more. I don't know. Panicked. After listening to it for a few seconds, I got pissed off and said, "Hello? Who is this?" There was a loud sound like whoever it was slammed their phone down, and then the line cut. They haven't called back since, but I'm still waiting. It's not just the phone calls. Last night I was woken up by a knock on the door in the middle of the night. When I answered it, no one was there. No one at my door, no one in the hallway. I got to the door pretty quick too. Quicker than it takes for the elevator to come up from the lobby. There is a stairwell they could have taken down, but the door squeaks so loudly, I definitely would have heard someone open it. So either one of my neighbors knocked on my door at 2 in the morning, or the invisible man. I've called the police more than once, but they're no help. They came out to my apartment and took my statement about Andrews and the other fake detectives, but they didn't seem too convinced by my story. Whenever I ask about the attack that put me in the hospital, they say the case is pending further evidence, which is a nice way of saying it's closed. I won't give up though. I called and I called until finally, one officer said, "Look, my guess is you got loaded on tranquilizers and hurt yourself. These are the people who are supposed to be protecting me." He said I'm lucky no one pressed charges for assault or property damage. I'm lucky. His words. My neighbor Pete, the guy who visited me in the hospital, said a detective came around asking about me. I tried to explain that the person he talked to probably wasn't a real detective, but now the guy wants nothing to do with me. I even caught the woman across the hall staring, so I can only assume either word got around or the detective paid more than one visit in the building. As far as lawyers go, you can forget it. The only guys interested in my case are the kind of bottom scrapers and ambulance chaser I would never hire in the first place. I couldn't sleep last night, so I got dressed and left the building to go for a walk. My thoughts were racing so badly, like two people arguing over each other, but the wind felt good on my skin, and before I knew it, I was taking a booth at the Lighthouse Dinner a couple of miles from my apartment. They know me enough there to get a few head nods from the employees, but not so much that they know my name or what I do. Sometimes that's best. They don't know my business, and I don't know theirs. The waitress came over to take my order. "No friends tonight?" she asked. "Just me." I ordered a coffee and an omelette. I don't like eggs much, but I've been craving them lately. I've been craving a lot of weird things. The waitress put in my order and dropped off the coffee, leaving me to prepare it alone in the empty diner. As I poured the sugar in, I casually glanced over at my reflection in the mirrored wall across the aisle. I wasn't alone in the booth. The man seated across from me was immediately recognizable as Andrews, or whatever his actual name is, dressed in clothes that weren't trying to make him look like a detective. I understood right away that I wasn't seeing a ghost or anything like that. It was a memory, a slice of something forgotten coming through. The cuts and bruises on my face were gone, or rather, not there yet. Even my clothes weren't the same, and I was struck with the fear that if I moved my head even slightly, the spell would be broken and the memory would be lost forever. I could see from my peripherals that no one was actually seated at the booth with me. The effect it had on my vision was completely disorienting. By the movements of his lips, the memory of Andrews was talking to the memory of me, though I couldn't hear a word of it. The birthmark on his neck could be seen from my angle, as well as a yellow folder on the table between us. For a moment, the sound of memory fluttered through my ears, just 5 words of Andrew's voice. "You have to go back." Overcome with curiosity and worried the memory would fade away before I got any answers, I slowly turned my head to look down at the table, hoping the folder would still be there. But there was my only coffee. A second later, my food arrived, further breaking the spell. I ate my eggs in silence, and when I was done, I asked for the bill. Before she left the table, I reached out and stopped the waitress. "Quick question," I said. "What do you mean when you said no friends tonight?" "Oh, hey, I wasn't trying to be mean," she pouted in a friendly way. It's fine. Did you say that because the last time I came here I was with someone?" "The last few times, I think." "Did you happen to catch his name or see it on his credit card, anything like that?" She shook her head. "He paid cash if I remember. Why? Did something happen?" I waved the question off. "Nothing you would believe." She nodded, looking a bit weirded out. I paid the bill and headed home. This time I really felt the distance. The night reminded me of the island, the way the wind whistled in the treetops, making me feel hollow. By the time I got home, I was cold and drowsy and tired of waiting, but even still, when I laid down in bed to give sleep another shot, I could feel it wasn't going to happen anytime soon. After the first hour of lying awake in bed, I began to hear sounds. Whispers in the dark, but wet, like they were shaped from the sounds of maggots shifting. I jumped up and turned on the lights and checked every corner of the apartment. Nothing was there. When I finally did fall asleep, I dreamt of being a kid again. I was back home with a living father and a mother who spoke to me. And they were good dreams, of holidays and playing and dinner time. But whenever I would turn my head, the house, the sky, everything was lit in a deep red light.
Letting the blow, plus getting the dough. We be checking your hole while you sweating the flow. I be intellectual, incredible, flexible. I turn the virgin sexual, impeccable, but technical. I be the first letter, you ain't know. Check the alphabetical order. My natural elements, chemical shorter to leave it cruel. More bloodier, dimensional waters on the 28th. Your thoughts are pennyweight, I'ma generate these bonds. Watch as I detonate. At any rate, I separate like races, niggas segregate you featherweights.